Hey guys, it's Dave. Recently I updated my description to include a bunch of Amazon affiliate links, and that's essentially every product I use to grow my plants on a daily basis. So every plant you have seen so far in the videos and every other plant in this house has been grown using those very products. I've had some requests to include a link to my Amazon storefront. I don't have one. You have to be considered an influencer by Amazon standards, whatever that is, to have something that convenient. So it's just link by link. I know that some of you have already taken advantage of that. Thank you. Every little bit helps a channel, helps kind of fund this endeavor that we're on together. But I want to go through each and every one of those products. These products have been around for a long time, so it's not going to be one of those deals where someone puts a product up on their page and then it's no longer available. I've been using these for a long time with great success. Let's get to it. I'm going to start in a probably surprising place because it is the single most annoying product for me, or it used to be. And I have wasted more money on this than I even care to think about. So, up first, perlite. This is Supreme brand Super Coarse, and it comes in a huge bag. I'm not sure how many cubic feet it is. Think giant feed bag, like to feed, I don't know what, cattle, something like that. It's huge. And it may seem like you don't need this much perlite, and maybe you don't. I would urge you to consider it because I have bought so many bags of perlite, gotten it home, and it's basically talcum powder. No value at all to creating a good airy substrate. And I think one thing people comment on most with perlite is it has a tendency to float up through the soil, whatever soil you're using. This does not. At least in the mix I'm about to show you, I use cocoa chips and then cocoa coir. And so it's a very chunky substrate, and there's really no way for this to float up, and they're big. So this is a foundation of a very chunky mix. I think those huge bags are like $45. The Espoma is like $16 or $17 for 8 quarts of questionable perlite. And it's not just that brand. I've used many brands that I just hate them. I just hate them all. So I'm so happy to have found this. I would consider perhaps getting a couple, 3 plant friends together if you can't use a bag that large. I won't have a problem with it over time. You might, I get it. But I think worth considering for sure. A product that I had all but given up on maybe, I don't know how long ago, a while ago, a year or two ago, because I was getting cocoa chips that were just basically 60, 70, 80% just string, just fiber, and not really chips. This stuff is fantastic. You don't need to buffer it, meaning you don't need to rinse through it. It's ready to go. It is absolutely wonderful. By far my favorite amendment. It is just great. And it's so cheap. If you buy these by the 6-pack like I do, you're looking at about $3 and change for a brick of this. Somebody asked me a really good question in the comments regarding this. Do I wet it down before I pot up my plants? And the answer is, when I remember to. If I don't remember to, then I put a bowl underneath whatever I'm watering and let this really get wet. And then I will occasionally do that as I water plants, just let it soak. But this has the perfect property of absorbing enough water but not too much to keep a pot moist but not wet. It's a great amendment. Highest recommendation. All of these get my 10/10 recommendation. There's no fluff on this list. The actual cocoa coir I use, which is Thunder Acres, it is a very coarse, I'll get a picture of this. This is wet, so you really won't be able to probably tell how coarse this is. I have used some that is basically the equivalent of a seed starter. No great value to me. These three items together are pennies on the pound, basically, in amendments. I recently saw a boutique product that's selling for $15.99 for a quart. That's a sandwich bag. A quart. I can make a 5-gallon bucket of substrate for $9, $10, $12, I don't know. The $15.99 product consisted of cocoa chip, peat, which I don't use peat. I don't use anything organic. Slow release fertilizer and pumice. So those are the three products I use to make the substrate. And that's it. If you've seen my channel before, you know that it's just very, very simple. It's about 1/3 each, sometimes less cocoa coir, sometimes more. That's totally dependent on the plant, where it's going to be. So if it's going to be on the porch in the summer in a west window or some equivalent to that, I'll probably add a little more cocoa coir because it's going to dry out pretty quickly, how thirsty the plant is, etc. and so forth. I'm sure you have been through this yourself, so I don't want to mansplain something that's obvious to you. And let me grab something that's just kind of a little bit of a luxury item that I just love, and I've already talked about them so often on my channel, but just one second. It's my beloved bonsai scissors. I love the tactile feel of these. They feel like quality, they're steel, they are sharp, they fit my hand well, they cut reliably. I love these things. I don't care that they kind of get stained. If you care, they recommend adding a light oil after every use. I haven't got time for that. I'm not going to do it. The other complaint I saw on Amazon reviews, that the handles are way too large. If you're trying to use it with your fingertips, like you might in some sort of sewing scissors or something, I can understand that, but they're really meant to be controlled with your palm and your whole fingers. And so you have a lot of control on this. The ends of this cross the tip so that you can use the very tip to cut. I saw someone commented that it was poor quality because of that. That's a design. That's not a flaw. So a lovely little tool. I love it. If you want to treat yourself to something a little special, spend a little bit more money, I love them so much. I guess I'm slightly out of order on this since I was talking about soil amendments, but what I use to feed my plants, all Hoya get Michigan State University food. And this is the Tezila brand, or however you may pronounce it. Michigan State University really rethought fertilizer, and it's plant food. It's got all kinds of minerals and so forth. So lots of Hoya grower use this. I've been using it now for a year, over a year now. And if you've seen my Hoya and think they look good, this is all I use for them. Sometimes when they're small, I will use the next product, but that's oftentimes just because it's handy. But Hoya bloom wonderfully with this. You can see the phosphorus is actually very low. They really rethought fertilizer, came up with this. It's great. Lots of people use it for a reason. This is 2 pounds of this is $27. There are companies like Repot Me that brand their own, and then they put authentic MSU formula on it. If you want to support them, obviously it's your money. Please do what you want with it, you know, of course. But it's $45 for 1 pound. $27 for 2 pounds, $45 for 1 pound for the exact same formula. To brand someone else's formula, can't justify that. For myself, I'm not a wealthy person. I'll get to the lights later where I splurge, but anyway, great luck with this. The thing about fertilizers and anything with plants is that you can't make a switch and then report back on it in the near term. It takes a long time for plants to respond to anything besides like cold shock, root rot, the bad things. They respond to great. You'll know right away. But it takes time. So, you know, those reviews that are really optimistic that I started feeding my plant with this, and 1 week later it put on 2 new vines and 5 leaves, you know, the plant was already working on that. So long-term success with this. I love it. No plans to change this. For our aeroid friends, like this spokesmodel today, I use the GT Australia Growth Technologies Foliage Focus. I saw a Sydney Plant Guy use this. There's a plane going overhead. We'll wait for that. And when it became available in the United States last summer, last spring, whatever it was, I thought, you know, why not? I'll give it a try. And, you know, like I said, it takes a long time for plants to respond to positive change. But I noticed significant growth throughout the summer, and then I've had explosive growth throughout the year I've used this. I have it linked at a 250 milliliter bottle because that was what was available on Amazon when I put together that list. I buy 1 liter. Perhaps I would consider a larger size, but you know, this actually, you use 10 or 12 milliliters per gallon. So it lasts a long time, even with a relatively large collection like I have. You may need a pipette. This just automatically fills when you squeeze it down. It'll fill right up to 10 or 12 milliliters. I think these are sold in sets of 6, and I've not broken one yet. There I go. Now in the very near future, I will have broken one of these. Oh well, they're cheap. A very recent video I did was on pest preventative, pest termination, and this is the soap I use, the Dr. Woods. One is rosemary, one is peppermint. What I really appreciate about this product is it's very, very thick. So when you mix this up with the hydrogen peroxide, alcohol, and water, it really coats the leaves well. It foams up, it cleans the leaves so nicely. If you have shiny leaves, it leaves them shiny. If they're matte, it leaves them matte. So it doesn't change the composition. Is that the right word? Not quite, but I think you know what I mean. It's not going to add the rubbing it down with mayonnaise effect. A little bit expensive. It's $15 a bottle. You use a 1/4 cup each in the pest preventative I use per half gallon. Half a gallon treats half my collection. So I mix that up. I do the downstairs. I mix up another batch probably a week later because it takes time to do all of that and do the upstairs, which is 90% grow tent and then maybe 10% of plants around up there. And the grow tent is also included in my link for anybody who wants to take it to that level. Boy, am I glad that my wife let me do that. That is a true game changer for me. I just first want to show you my beautiful Matilde. I bought this as one little, or not little vine. I bought this as one single kind of a long vine and chopped it up into a bunch of single node cuttings. They all rooted, and then when I repotted it, which is not easy to do with these little bitty tiny stems, they all lived, which was amazing. And it turned into this really just beautiful plant. I love small-leaved Hoya. This is my favorite. It's Carnosa and Serpens, so it has the best attributes of both, in my humble opinion, and it will bloom much faster than a Carnosa, and it's easier to take care of than a Serpens. The reason I have this plant is because, as you can see, it's basically crowned completely over the opening of the pot. This particular watering can I didn't put in the link because I don't know if it's available. I don't know if it will always be available. But what I like is this really narrow gooseneck so that you can put it, it's very steep too, so it doesn't spill your fertilizer all over the place, And then you can just get it in between the leaves to water, and you're not wasting it by having it careen off the leaves. I mean, stuff's expensive and it's not getting cheaper. So anything that helps with that, like this, I am a fan of. Thank you for all the nice comments I get on how beautifully grown my Hoya are. To grow those Hoya the way I do, every plant that I have, the biggest change I have ever made to growing houseplants successfully, quickly, and to size is adding lights. I wish I could just get in the Wayback Machine and start with grow lights from the very beginning. This is admittedly a couple of luxury items. This is from Soltech Solutions. I know I'm not the only plant channel you watch, so you've heard of Soltech. These are two of their Vita bulbs. It's a very warm, museum-like light without being yellow. And that's everything to me, because my home is first and foremost a home. It's not a nursery. It's not a giant grow tent. I like natural, beautiful lighting. I like beautiful things in the home. I like antique furniture, and I like it to look natural. GE lights are great, and they're very powerful. Their Par 38 light is about $30. It is very blue-white light, and it hurts my eyes. It hurts my feelings because it makes everything look, in my opinion, very cold and clinical, and I don't appreciate that at all. These are expensive lights, but they're very, very effective also. So they don't seem that bright. So I linked these. I have them all over the house. I would sell a kidney to replace these. I also have the pendant version, which is the aspect. So those lights, these are everywhere. They come in wide, meaning it has very wide pattern, and you can put it from 1 to 3 or 4 feet from the plant if it's a kind of a mid-lower lightish plant. But you can keep it 1 foot from the plant, and it's not going to photo bleach it. If you do it with the other bulbs that I use, which is the narrow, those need to be away from the plant, or I promise you, you will scorch them. And I have the Philodendron Esmeraldens to prove it. So take them at their word. Great bulbs. And then, kind of lastly on this journey, is the Mother Plant Spectrum 32. I know you've also seen this from your favorite plant channels. Very popular. I love it. It works great. They're expensive. This is a pure luxury item. It's up to you to decide how much quality lighting is worth. The Kelvin rating on the Soltech is 3000, which is on the warmer side. I am filming right now at about 3200 Kelvin. This comes in, I think, at like 35, so it's a little whiter light, but it's not, you know, dentist office white. But it is a little starker. It's a great light. I think most of the YouTubers who are using this got them free to review, because this is a very expensive light. I got mine, I'm in the United States, in Iowa, and I won an auction, a charity auction from England. I got 3 very inexpensively, and I sold 1 and paid for 2. So that's how it worked for me. It's a light. I have 2 of them that I use all the time that I can't afford to buy new. So again, it's not for me to decide what someone else can afford. I'm not in the income bracket that many of you no doubt are. So, and if you're not in that income bracket, don't feel bad. You can get the Soltech, and if you don't want to spend the money on a Soltech, you can get the, I would probably go with the Sansi bulbs. They're wonderful. They're very cool, but you know, that's how it is. There are compromises. And then we can talk about the non-luxury item lights. This one is the very, very common Barina This one is a T8. So it is 24 watts. It is very powerful. Very, very powerful. The T5 is what people use most often on shelves. That's a 10 watt. I don't have a T5 that I can just show you here, but I'll show it to you on my plant shelves. I use a triple of the T5 on those shelves. So 3 on each shelf, and I grow Hoya under them, of course, and it does great. I haven't measured the par value of them, but this one seems to be as powerful as that 30 watt somehow. Maybe it's the reflector, I'm not sure. But either way, if you're gonna go T5, you'll have very good success. I would not recommend one though. It's just simply not a powerful enough light to grow Hoya well. This one, yes, 100%. And that's it. Those are the products I use to grow my plants, every single one of them. And I have distilled it down into what I have found to be the best. So all the stuff I've been disappointed with, don't have it in the house. It took me a long time to put that list together and put it in my description because I thought I was going to have to weed through a bunch of stuff. Well, I don't know what's wrong with my brain. I don't have that stuff in the house. I don't use it. Why would I have to weed through it? I know what I use every day. I'm weird. I'm not right. But you put up with me. I appreciate it. Go do something for yourself today. And then join me in the next one real soon. Bye-bye.